Hey everyone, welcome back. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Today we're diving into a powerful story of love, hard work, and tough choices. While Toan is under intense pressure to expand his business, Tu Diem is working in the scorching sun. But when she returns home and sees what he's built for her, the emotional moment that follows will melt your heart. If you love real, heartfelt couple stories, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss what happens next. The next morning arrived quickly under a blazing hot sun that already felt intense from the very first light. Tuan was up early, sleeves rolled up, standing in the middle of their yard, working side by side with Mr. Tuan on the new kitchen project. The rhythmic sound of mortar being mixed and bricks stacking one after another echoed across the space as they slowly transformed the area into something solid and useful. Tuan stayed completely focused, carefully guiding Mr. Tuan through every step, from pouring fresh cement to perfectly level the ground, to laying each brick with precision and care. His voice remained calm and steady as he gave instructions, but inside you could sense his mind was always thinking ahead toward a more stable and comfortable future for their home. Meanwhile, Tu Diem had decided not to stay and help with the construction that day. Instead, she prepared to head out to harvest green peppers. Just before she left, Toan walked over with clear worry written across his face. He gently reminded her, "Wear your hat, put on a jacket, and please be careful out there in this heat." Tu Diem gave him a soft nod and a reassuring smile, trying to ease his concern before she walked away. That brief moment of parting carried a quiet mix of reluctance and hope, the kind of feeling you get when you have to separate for the day, even though you'd rather stay together. Back at the building site, Toan continued working closely with Mr. Tuan. They discussed practical details like making the new stove the perfect height so Tu Diem could cook comfortably while standing, and where to add shelves later for better storage. Every single brick they placed felt like a silent promise of easier and better days ahead. The heavy physical labor under the burning sun, mixed with Tuan's distant worry for Tu Diem, working alone in the fields, created a powerful turning point inside him, shifting his tiredness into a strong determination to keep building their shared life. You could see it when he paused for a moment, wiping sweat from his forehead with the back of his hand, staring at the half-finished kitchen with a deep mix of pride and longing. Every stage of this construction wasn't just changing the physical space around them. It was real proof of their enduring bond and the future they were creating together, step by step. The intense heat surrounding them almost seemed to mirror the quiet, inner warmth of their shared purpose, turning hard manual labor into something much more meaningful, an act of quiet love and hopeful commitment for the days to come. While all this was happening at home, Toan's phone suddenly rang. It was Mr. Tan. After a short conversation, they arranged to meet at a small local cafe. When Toan arrived, Mr. Tan was already waiting for him. They sat down together, and the discussion quickly turned serious and important. Mr. Tan leaned forward and proposed buying an already operating factory at a very reasonable price to help expand their production capacity. Tuan listened attentively, his expression thoughtful and responsible, as he carefully considered every aspect of the offer. He knew Mr. Tan was still dealing with heavy family matters, so in a calm and caring tone, Tuan explained that he wanted to wait a little longer before making any final decision, because he didn't want to add extra pressure on his partner during such a difficult time. They continued talking about the many new customer orders coming in, how raw material prices kept rising, and how urgently they needed to expand to keep up with demand. At the exact same moment, far away from the cafe, Tu Diem was working hard in the fields, harvesting green peppers and then selling them by the roadside. You could hear her simple, honest negotiations with customers. 10,000 dong per kilo, carrying across the dusty road under the harsh sun. The contrast between the two scenes was striking. Tuan sitting in a quiet cafe discussing big business moves and future expansion, while Tu Diem was out there laboring with her own hands, selling peppers kilo by kilo to make ends meet. Tuan felt the heavy weight of work pressure pressing down on him. Yet he still showed genuine support and understanding toward Mr. Tan, even gently advising him to focus on resolving his family issues first. That conversation created a real internal turning point for Tuan. The exciting hope of growing their business clashed strongly with his current responsibilities, and most importantly, his deep emotional attachment to Tu Diem and the life they were building together. The formal atmosphere inside the cafe felt worlds apart from the hot, dusty road where Tu Diem was selling her harvest. It was like witnessing two completely different sides of life happening simultaneously. One side driven by ambition and big dreams, the other rooted in honest, everyday hard work. Tuan took a slow sip of water, lost deep in his thoughts. He realized clearly that whatever decision he made right now would directly affect the small, precious home they were carefully building day by day with love and effort. The meeting ended with Tan promising to think about the proposal more carefully and give Mr. Tan an answer soon. As he left the cafe, a gentle but noticeable inner conflict stayed with him. The pull between friendship and business ambition on one side, and his strong sense of responsibility toward Tu Diem and their shared future on the other. The whole morning had been filled with this beautiful yet challenging contrast between hard physical labor, big dreams, and the quiet love that held everything together. And as the sun continued to beat down, you could feel the growing tension and anticipation for what would happen when Tu Diem finally returned home later that day. As Tuan left the cafe, the weight of the conversation with Mr. Tan still sat heavily on his shoulders. He walked slowly back toward home, his mind replaying every word. The tempting offer of buying that factory, the rising costs, the growing number of orders, and the very real pressure to expand their business before someone else took the opportunity. Deep down, he felt torn between two strong pulls: the exciting possibility of growing their future on one side, and the quiet, everyday responsibilities he had toward Tu Diem and the life they were carefully building together on the other. The sun was still blazing overhead as he arrived back at the construction site. He paused for a moment, wiping the sweat from his forehead with the back of his hand, and stared at the half-finished kitchen. The bricks they had laid earlier now stood stronger under the harsh sunlight, but it was still far from complete. In that quiet pause, a deep mix of pride and longing washed over him. Every brick represented not just hard work, but a promise he was making to create a better, more comfortable home for the two of them. At the exact same time, far away on a dusty roadside, Tu Diem was finishing up her harvest sales. She carefully counted the money from selling green peppers, her face flushed from the intense heat, yet she kept a small, determined smile. She had worked hard all morning under the burning sun, negotiating prices kilo by kilo with customers passing by. The simple act of selling what she had harvested herself felt grounding and honest, a sharp contrast to the big business discussions Toan was dealing with. As she packed up her remaining peppers and started heading home, she felt a quiet excitement building inside. She couldn't wait to see how much progress Toan and Mr. Tuan had made on the new kitchen. When Tu Diem finally walked through the gate, the sight before her made her eyes light up with pure joy. The new kitchen structure was already taking clear shape. The walls were higher, the foundations solid, and you could already imagine how convenient it would be once finished. She stopped in her tracks for a second, her tired face breaking into a bright, heartfelt smile. Tuan, who had been watching from a distance while cleaning some tools, felt his heart warm instantly when he saw her reaction. He smiled back at her from across the yard, that gentle, loving smile that always made everything feel lighter. For a brief moment, all the business pressure, the heat, and the internal conflict from earlier seemed to fade into the background. Seeing Tu Diem's happy expression reminded him why he was working so hard in the first place. Tu Diem walked closer, still looking at the new kitchen with sparkling eyes. "It's really coming together," she said softly, her voice full of genuine admiration. Toan nodded, walking over to meet her. He could see how tired she was from the long day of harvesting and selling under the sun, yet the joy on her face made all the exhaustion worth it. They stood together for a while, looking at the half-finished structure that represented so many of their hopes for easier days ahead. In that moment, the contrast between their separate labors during the day, his business discussions and heavy construction work, her honest field work and roadside sales, melted into a shared sense of accomplishment and love. Tuan gently wiped a bit of dust from her shoulder and said with a warm smile, "You must be exhausted. But look, we made good progress today." Tu Diem nodded, still gazing at the kitchen with shining eyes. The sun was beginning to lower slightly, casting longer shadows across the yard, but the warmth between them felt stronger than the afternoon heat. After a short pause, Tuan looked at her and spoke the words that carried both excitement and a promise for the rest of the day. "Hôm nay, chúng ta sẽ đón đẹp cùng hao." Those simple words hung in the air with quiet anticipation. After all the separation, the hard work, the business pressure, and the worries of the day, they would finally spend the evening working side by side again, cleaning up the leftover bricks, sand, and tools, turning the messy construction site into something neat and organized together. You could feel the emotional shift in that moment. What started as two separate paths in the morning, one filled with big ambitions and heavy responsibilities, the other with honest daily labor, was now coming full circle as they prepared to reunite in the simple, meaningful act of building their home together. The quiet joy on Tu Diem's face, combined with Toan's gentle smile and the visible progress of the kitchen behind them, created a powerful feeling of hope. Yet beneath it all, Toan still carried that inner conflict about the factory decision. Would expanding the business bring them more stability, or would it take away from these precious everyday moments they cherished so much? As they stood there together, looking at their half-finished kitchen, the story left a strong sense of anticipation hanging in the warm afternoon air. What would happen when they started cleaning up together? How would the rest of the day unfold after such a long and emotionally full morning? The contrast between hard work, big dreams, and tender love had never felt more real, leaving you eager to see how their story would continue as they face the challenges and joys of building a life together, one brick and one caring moment at a time. The next morning, under the scorching sun, Toan works tirelessly with Mr. Tuan to build their new kitchen, while Tu Diem heads out to harvest and sell green peppers. As the construction slowly takes shape, Tuan receives a call from Mr. Tan and meets him at a cafe to discuss a major business opportunity, buying a new factory to expand their production. Torn between ambition and responsibility, Tuan feels the heavy pressure of rising costs and growing orders, yet he remains deeply concerned about balancing work with his life with Tu Diem. Meanwhile, Tu Diem returns home exhausted from the fields. The moment she sees the impressive progress on the new kitchen, her eyes light up with pure joy. Tuan smiles warmly from afar, and together they share a tender moment of hope. As the day continues, they prepare to clean up the site side by side, leaving viewers wondering how they will navigate love, hard work, and difficult choices ahead.